You're watching KETV NewsWatch 7's Chronicle. This morning we're talking with two more of the 10 candidates running for U.S. Senate. And joining me now is Republican Jeff Stein. And Stein, thanks very much for joining us. First off, why are you running?
I want to build the GPD.me. I want to have a system that builds based on gross income, and then I want to be able to go out there and put my gross income in there and go down through that database and say, you know, $1.2 billion. Okay, where's it going? I hear these numbers coming out and I'm going, golly. So I've done this before in the industry. I work for the phone company and I've been there, done it, and I think I can do it for, you know, the voters out there. I'm not going to be on, as you can tell, on, you know, Meet the Press or anything like that. I just want to be in the background, build this thing, let people come in, and over the next 6 years when we get into internet voting and, you know, I'm going to have more input from the people. And you certainly can't do it with emails and texts and all that kind of thing.
How easy is it? I mean, you want to increase the gross domestic product. How easy is it to do that? I mean, you can't just say, I want to do that.
Yeah, well, I didn't say gross domestic product.
I thought you said GDP.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I just want to have gross income there so people know what they're spending their money on. And right now, we don't know what we're spending our money on. We got all the pork belly in there. They put it in a big bucket. And unfortunately, you either have to vote for it, and all that stuff's in there that you don't want to vote for, and then you got to make these trade-offs. And I'm just kind of thinking that if I can highlight it on there, what I'd like to do is have the voters themselves go in and put that in there and then say, okay, how much is that costing in federal dollars for any kind of project you want? Now, in the old days, you couldn't do that because there wasn't the, you know, the computing power that we have now. We can go out there and find this stuff, put it on the plate, and let you look at it. After that, you guys can fight about it. I don't care. I mean, you don't want me in the leadership position going out there and saying, follow me, because most of you can't hang with me on the bike. But
let me ask you, who is Jeff Stein?
You know, 45 years of marriage with my wife, 65 years old. I think I understand Medicare pretty good. I just went through that process where you sign up at 65.
Right.
Oh. You know, I've been on Obamacare, okay? You know what that meant? When they first started, it was okay. It was 80% basically is what Social Security gives you, 80%, and then 20% you got to pay. Well, poor people, you know, I don't care what you give me. It was free because they don't make enough money then. Well, then all of a sudden it came out after they did their thing, and it was like, you know, $1,200 for my wife and myself, and I said, nah, we'll have to self-insure. So we did, so we made it to 65, so that's a goody-goody thing. I never thought I'd say that.
Gotcha. So what do you think about the Affordable Care Act? What would you do if you were a senator?
I would say, you know, I kind of like Social Security. You know, everybody has the 134. You can do it. Okay. Now what happens is after that you got to go into the gap. Well, fortunately, because I retired from the phone company, I had $2,200 to divvy up on Medigaps, Part B, Part D, whatever the thing is, and it came out to, you know, the 2,000. You get the coverage you can on that. Well, the nice lady that did this for me, because I was too stupid to do it, she ran it through Obamacare, and it came out to $1,700 for the same thing. I'm going, wow, nobody can afford that.
So you're a retired economist.
Yes.
In the phone company. Do you support President Trump's tax cuts and jobs plan?
See, what I would want to focus on is, first of all, give me the numbers. I can't make a judgment without the numbers. How much are you paying in interest on that $1.2 billion? Okay, I'd be attacking that right now and saying, hey, we got to cut back. It's the same thing you do on an individual basis. You say, well, we're going to have to live small for a while.
You ran in what was it? Last election.
Yeah.
You're running for Congress. You were a libertarian then.
Yeah.
Now you're a Republican. Did you have a philosophical change or what?
No, I don't really care about the party lines, you know. And when I looked at them, I said, well, there's 500 million Republicans. I've sent them each a 52-cent stamp for every stamp. Well, that's $250,000. I can't do that. Put a website out there, come get me. All I want is your vote. I don't want your money. I can do this. I'll do what I say when I said I can do it. And then I'm going to get out of here. 65, I'm, you know, 6 years, I'm going to be 71.
What do you think about the tariffs with China?
I've thought a lot about that. I don't see any real value in enforcing that kind of thing. You get in this tit for tat. You know, I mean, I understand Trump's thing about the tariffs, but if it's punitive, no. Okay, well, what's the punitive about? Well, we've known for years and years that the Chinese, you send one thing out the front door and 3 go out the back. Okay, well, let's, you know, close up the, you know, let's have some integrity with our relationship with China rather than treating them as enemies. Let's treat them as friends.
Now, you lived in Japan, right?
Yeah.
For a while?
Yeah.
I mean, so you have a bit of a global perspective living over there. I mean, I know Japan is one of our major trading partners as well. Do you think the tariffs sends any kind of message to the other countries in the world, or I know it's specifically just for China right now and some of the other, like 12 other countries, but do you think this sends a message?
No. I think it just shows, we want to punish people. Now, I train dogs, okay, and there's 3 things that you got to know about a living cell, from a single cell amoeba up to the most intelligent one, what I'm thinking is a whale, maybe, just based on brain size. But, you know, they will avoid pain, they will seek pleasure, and they'll do it with the least amount of expended energy. Okay, well now if you want to use punitive stuff and pain, I've done that with dogs and it doesn't work unless you can keep it balanced. Okay, you don't do that kind of thing. And if you work with the pleasure thing, you go ahead and say, okay, let's use the pleasure mode better. If you want to solve the taxes, let's go into the balance sheet and let's say, okay, how about if we pay off prepay taxes? You want to do something for your kid? Prepay their taxes. So
negative consequences versus positive consequences. Yep. Let me ask you about DACA. What would you do with the Dreamers and immigration?
You know, Mike Tobias came and did an interview with me, and he said DACA, and I just kind of sat there and said, "Oh, okay, what does that mean?" Well, I mean, what really was going on is our country's made a commitment to these kids and take care of them until whenever. Okay, you threw your kid into our popper and said, take care of them until they're of a certain age. Well, I think that kid should have a choice when he goes back or whatever. I'm not for saying everybody that threw their kid over the fence to keep them alive, and you can't fault them for that. But they don't get to say, oh, and by the way, I get to be, you know, a citizen too. So I hear the steps about maybe, you know, a way to work through it, but I've got no solution set right now.
Okay. What about gun control?
Oh, man.
Arming teachers? Should teachers have guns?
My wife's a teacher. I ran with those pack of animals. No, that's foolishness. You don't attack the schools. You don't attack the teachers. You don't give them weapons. I mean, it's going to be the OK Corral, and the first one that does it's going to, you know, get his name, and everybody's going to flash it. No, you don't do that. If you're going to change things, you got to attack the home. You got to attack the family. You don't put these kids in the schoolroom and let them take and, you know, basically hold the rest of the class hostage. You call the parents in there and say, hey, we think there's a problem. And now you're not going to solve it in that school unless you get home. So we're going to send somebody home with you, and we're going to have some lessons. Now, I'm telling you, that gets back to that thing about pain and pleasure thing. Nobody wants to have a government official in their house telling them how to live. Well, okay, then do what's right and, you know, work on it.
Well, where do you draw the line? I mean, you're talking about homegrown terrorists basically here. Where do you draw the line between monitoring them and infringing on someone's personal liberties?
Yeah, well, what are you infringing on that kid that's sitting in that classroom with, you know, 28 other things, and the teacher's trying to control, and the principal's more worried about the lawyers than he is about educating these kids. And, you know, the kids, you know, they want to go march and do that kind of thing. I've been to Japan. Let's do like they do. You know, the whole class goes out and picks up trash, and, you know, during recess. And it's not just the kids, the teachers out there doing that. It's about a group. You got to become homogeneous.
Let me ask you about the military. Would you vote to support sending more troops overseas, no, or would you vote to even add more money for the military?
Well,
two separate issues right there.
Okay, let's see. No, as far as I'm saying, what I'm going with is that there's no Band-Aid solution. I mean, we've had Band-Aids forever, and you start ripping them off and saying, oh, okay, well, I'm not all in on this, you know, having a base in all these other countries and stuff. Right. Give them 10 years and say, hey, you know, we're done defending you. If you can't do it by then, well, we'll see what happens.
What about more money just for the military in general?
I'd like it.
Like it?
I do. I mean, I think those guys, what you basically have is you have two sources going from you into the military. There's people that are really dedicated and they want to go serve their country, and then you got the other part, they're out in the ruler and say, I don't have any job opportunities here or whatever. I'm going to jump in and go get my $20,000 a year.
All right. We don't have much time left here. I want to give you a minute. You can talk to your prospective voters here. You can just look right at the camera right there. Okay. You got a minute.
if you vote for me, I'll build the system. You can put in the data on the gross income. I'll put it out there on the plate. You're going to have a lot of discussions. But if you start talking about things and you don't know the numbers, trust me, you just watch me do it, and I sound foolish. So let's get the numbers out there, put it on there. I'm also for internet voting. I want to have the voters be able to go in and do it on the gpedia.me, and you say, well, how can you do that? And I'm saying, well, I'm going to run it through the banks. Let's have another free service. Now, anybody wants to go out and vote, okay, you're going to know if somebody's messing with your bank account, and you tie that, proxy server or whatever you got to the IP address and say, yeah, I registered for that. Now you can get these people to come vote. And I don't think you see that kind of turnout, at least when I've gone to the voting booths.
All right. Well, Jeff Stein, thanks very much for joining us today. I appreciate the conversation.
Thanks for being kind.
Oh, no worries. And we're going to be right back with some final thoughts. First, a reminder, your comments are an important part of the show. If you want to be heard, email them to news@ketv.com. We love hearing from you, and we'll be right back.